Hey y'all, it's Chat with Kat, and this is part two of my interview with Billy Stanley, Elvis's stepbrother. And in part one, we went over the faith of a child, the early years with Elvis, and now we are in the hope, because we're following the same structure as Billy's book, Faith of Elvis, Faith, Hope, and Love. And the greatest of these is love, right?
Oh yeah.
So this is going to be hope. And I'd like to ask you, these are the complicated years around Elvis. So as Elvis's career intensified, what began to change behind the scenes, like within the family or within the Memphis Mafia, as...
I think what you're trying to grasp is from like 75 on to 77, Elvis was a man that was led by challenges. I mean, that's what he lived for. And I think the biggest disappointment was when the Colonel shot down A Star Is Born.
Oh, yeah.
That would have, see, the sad part to Elvis's story is that you only got to see, you got to see two things. The acting, which he was really a great actor.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen to all these people, I mean, these big name stars that were in some of these earlier movies and stuff, and they always said, yeah, he could act.
Yeah.
I mean, well, he could, because look at what he did with those movies that he was in.
Right.
They were nonsense, but he did a great job in them.
Right.
But see, if he could have done Star Is Born, it would have even made the star even bigger than what you saw.
Yeah.
And that's what he wanted. I mean, he wanted to do parts like Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
Because he loved those. He loved those, and he liked the spaghetti westerns and stuff and that's what he wanted to do. And in fact, one of the first hints of that was when they did Chiro, because the Clint Eastwood movies and stuff were doing good. So they said, okay, we're going to let you do this, but here's where Colonel Parker stuck his nose into it. Instead of Elvis pulling the gun and shooting, he'd put his hand on the gun and give the guy a dirty look. When Elvis told me this, I shook my head.
I don't guess I noticed that. I need to go back and watch it now.
Yeah, because Elvis talked. I mean, that was one of the things. After every movie, he would come back and tell us little stories about the movie. In fact, like in the movie Easy Come, Easy Go, Colonel Parker knew that him and Larry were getting into yoga a little bit. So they threw that song in, Yoga Is As Yoga Does.
Yeah.
And that was Colonel Parker's way of making fun of what Elvis was doing with yoga.
Yeah, it was silly.
Yeah. And so, people talk about their relationship.
Although I was impressed with the body bending.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, because he'd been practicing for a little while. And but he just said, Colonel put that in there because he knew that was one of my passions that I was getting into, is yoga. And that was his way of making fun of it.
Oh, and he was a good sport about it, because even though he didn't agree with the scripts or that scene or different ones, he gave it his all still.
Here's how that all came about. When he first came out of the Army, he was unsure of what he was going to do. I mean, he didn't know, because back in those days, when you're gone out of the public eye for 2 years or more, your career was pretty much dead.
Yeah, he didn't know if
he didn't know.
Fans,
and then he had 3 little boys here all of a sudden. Yeah. So we come along, that's a little bit of a distraction for him. And then he signs the 7-year movie deal, three movies a year and a soundtrack that goes with it. So once that was over, because he's, when it first started, he was hoping, okay, well, these roles will change. They never did. So they kind of, to appease him a little bit, they threw Chiro in there. And he said he knew after that, he said that was it. So that's why when he started back in Vegas, and it started off with the 68 special, just to see if he still had it. And it did. I mean, because it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was humongous. So that's when they said, well, let's try Vegas. And so they did that, and it was a huge success. Of course, now you can see it in Epic and saw how big it really was.
Right.
Because, and I mean, now let's go back, because you said something in the first segment. What part touched my heart the most? And this part just reminded me. because being back up on stage doing what he wanted to do the most, being in front of his fans.
Yeah.
That's what he loved. I mean, you could see it. The way he joked around with the fans and talked to them. And I mean, it was he was in his element doing that. So
yeah. I tell you, that scene where he's in the white suit coming onto stage, I just keep thinking he's just magnificent. You know, I mean, that's the only word I can. It's stunningly magnificent.
He looked that way, but on the inside, he was.
I know. I know. And then when they're walking down, we've seen the footage of walking down the hallway and waving to the people in the cafeteria, but it's enhanced, so it's so clear and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband leaned over and he goes, "There's just no cool like Elvis cool."
Yeah, really.
I mean, he just looks cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Okay, did Vernon ever express concern that you remember about Elvis's health towards the end? Was there any talk, or was everybody too close to the situation to realize?
I guess what you're trying to get me to talk about is the drug problem,
or his health, just his health. And I'm not a big proponent of calling him any kind of a
well, here again, anybody that judges him, look at yourself first.
No, I'm not. But
I mean,
he clearly was.
I think that everybody's curious about that, and everybody says, "Well, nobody said anything." Everybody said something.
Oh, of course, I'm sure.
Anybody that cared about him. I mean, I think 22. Yeah, this was 75. I was 22, and I said, "Don't you think some of that stuff might be some of the problem?" And he said, "Billy, let me tell you something." He said, "Do you think I got to where I'm at right now by listening to anybody?" Oh. He said, "People told me I couldn't sing. People said I couldn't do this. I couldn't do this. This is not a problem for me." Yeah. And when he said it that way to me, I just, okay.
You got to leave it alone.
I dropped it because, I mean, I'm only 22 years old and I'm talking to this guy.
Yeah, right.
About this topic right here.
Yeah.
And when he said, "I got control of this," I backed off.
Yeah.
Okay, Elvis.
No, I understand.
I mean, he never lied to me about anything before. Why would he lie about this? I said, okay.
Yeah.
I never brought it up again. Now, I'm sure everybody that loved him cared about, did say something. I'm sure Billy Smith said something. I'm sure Vernon. I know Rick and David did. Yeah. I'm sure Joe Esposito. Everybody did. Red and Sonny, and even the guys that were fired. Yeah, everybody I think probably said something to him. But at the end of the day, he'd say, "Okay, who's signing your check?" That's
right. And I've had it in my own family, and until that person wants to change something, you cannot change it.
Exactly.
So, no, I wasn't making an accusation there at all.
No, I didn't say you were, but I mean, when people, that's one of the things. I think one of the reasons why the fans like listen to me talk, because that's one subject I will not discuss because it's really nobody's business.
Right.
That's between Elvis and his life. That's his, and I won't go there.
Yeah.
Now I will say, yeah, did we say something? Sure we did.
Yeah. But I didn't even mean to him. Were you maybe see some problems here? Should we say something maybe?
Well, yeah. I mean, it got to the point where he was sleeping more. Yeah. But I mean, also the guy worked harder than anybody I ever seen on stage. I mean,
when
so
that movie
I figured I went, okay, that's why he's sleeping so long.
2 shows a day for 5 weeks at a time, sometimes 3 shows.
Well, in Vegas, it was 30 days. And in Vegas with the air out there, I mean, it just tears your throat up.
Oh my.
But he did it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, 8 months out of the year, you're on the road.
Right.
And, because he wanted to be in front of his fans. That's, because people said, well, maybe take a rest, especially the last year. I know Lamar Fike and a couple of them said, "Hey, why don't you just stop, take a break or something." He said, "I can't let my fans down." Mm. So.
Well, I know you're not a fan of the Elvis movie a few years back with Baz, but.
It's not that I'm not a fan. It's just, let's just say this. From what perspective do they get that? Because Colonel Parker never wrote a book.
Yeah.
So
right.
All this stuff was just kind of fabricated and everything. Yeah. And then there was a few people involved in it. from their perspective, and that was
But it did get this part right, what you just said. Elvis loved his fans.
Oh yeah.
And that was the whole point of that one, that the love affair was with the fans.
Yeah, well, I mean, that, and there's something a lot of people don't know is when, I mean, sometimes we get on a subject of, you know, life and death and stuff like that. And he always said, I'm not going to be here long. He just, for some reason, I don't know if it had to do with his mom's death or something, but he just never thought that he was going to be an old man.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, he squeezed every second of every day he could, because he always said, Billy, make today like it's your last, because you don't know if it is or not, but guess what? You're not coming back for an encore.
Yeah.
So get the most out of every day that you can.
Right.
And that's the way he lived.
It's like that song, I hear it on Sirius, that he's saying, you know, what's the good of living to 90 if you waste 89? You know,
exactly.
If you live, once is enough. And he's like a candle that just burned so brightly that it burned out soon. You know, he's like a bright light in the world, and he burned so intensely, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he lived more in his lifetime than 100 people could in their lives.
I know. I mean,
and I mean, do I miss him more than most people?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was my hero.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it. You know, I wanted to be like him in so many ways. It's unbelievable. But I mean, not in the, you know, being famous or anything like that, but just the way he was with other human beings. That's the part that I admired the most.
When we watched Epic, about 30 minutes in, I just leaned over and I said, it just makes me miss him. And I didn't even know him. So I can't even imagine someone like you. And it made me miss that world, the world when Elvis was here. You know, it was just a different time. Elvis was everywhere. And you never imagined him not being there.
Exactly. Well, growing up, I never could put the two words Elvis and death together. I never could. But one thing he did teach me, he said, you know, when you just said Elvis world, he said, and you know, I tell people this all the time. The world that the world you create yourself. What goes on in and around you, you've got control over that. So you can make it what you want. You can make it nice and enjoyable, or you can make it miserable. So it's up to you to decide which one you want to be. And so, but that's why my life is, that's why my life is filled with love and joy and love and compassion and everything else. It's good, because I don't want to sit back. I mean, I've quit watching the news, because it's all about, you know, one side this and one side that, and we're stuck in the middle and who we're supposed to believe. And it's just like, don't believe any of it. Just believe that God's in control, and he's taking care of it all. Move on.
And I think you get to a point in your life, I've gotten there too, I just want peace.
Exactly.
Why waste the rest of my years, you know, fighting with anybody?
I reached that at an early age because of Elvis. That's what he taught me in life.
Yeah. There are many narratives about the final years. How do you reconcile what the public believes with what you personally experienced? And that could be not even the final years. That could be anything, any aspect. The public has its perception, because we're all armchair quarterbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know it firsthand. And so how do you reconcile what you see and read from what you know?
I just ignore it.
Okay, there we are.
I have to, because, I mean, does it bother me sometimes when I see this stuff, especially with AI now? I mean, I'll be scrolling through Facebook, which I do a lot, and I'll see an AI story, and I just go, wow, man, they were off on that one. I just, you know, and I got people tagging me in some of these stories, and they'll say, why didn't you say anything? I said, because I'm not here to fight with everybody. You know, that you're going to believe what you want to believe, no matter what I say. Yeah. So why should I waste my time and, you know, effort? Yeah. And it's like, never mind. I'm not going to even go into it.
But it does bother me too. The AI, they're changing history from what new fans and people, after all of the first circle people are gone, it'll be any story anybody wants to make up.
Well, you know, no, you don't have any control over it.
No.
So, I mean, all you can do is you can make yourself, you know, where I'm comfortable in the fact that I grew up with him. I know him better than all this stuff that's floating around.
Yeah.
And would he want me to fight all this stuff? No.
let go and let God. And
he would just, Billy, you know better, so why even talk about it?
yeah. You're exactly.
Don't waste your time.
It's really amazing. I see AI photos where they've melded, two different ones to create something that never happened, and it's scary.
Yeah, the one I saw just recently, I was scrolling through, it was Elvis, and it was like Lisa Marie on stage with Elvis, and I just, God, when she was a little girl,
right?
She's walking on stage with Elvis, and I just, okay,
right. There's one they've got of Elvis and Lisa, she's little and they're both doing, praying or whatever, but it's two different pictures, where she's, anyway, it's crap.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of crap. Okay. Were there moments when you wish things had been handled differently, either personally or professionally, either before he died or since he died? Do you have any, looking back on it,
when you, now I got to get understanding what you mean by, are you talking about in Elvis's life or just life in general or what?
Well, you can take it either way you want to. Maybe personally with you and Elvis, if you do you wish that maybe you would handle something differently, or do you wish the Parker, the whatever?
Well, here's something that most people don't know. Elvis was, that tour that was supposed to take place on August 16th, 1977. In the last conversation I had with him, he said there's going to be major changes when I'm done with this tour. Really? And I was about to say, and he said, yeah, and he's gone too. He knew exactly what I was talking about. Colonel Parker was on his way out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a guy named Jerry Weintraub.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he was a famous movie producer and everything else. He worked for Colonel Parker for a short time, but he saw an opportunity. They had a business meeting. This happened maybe a month or so before Elvis passed away. And Jerry, in the meeting, from what I understand, in this meeting that was told to me by Elvis was, they were talking and Jerry said, was it Wembley Stadium? He said, what if I can put you in Wembley Stadium over in England for $1 million a show? And he said, Elvis looked at, you can do that? He said, yeah. He said, for 10 shows. Wow. $10 million.
In 70s.
This was in 1977. And see, Elvis wanted to do a European tour in Asia. He wanted to tour the world instead of everybody having to come to the United States to see him. So this was in the process because Lamar Fike was even looking for another plane. They wouldn't let the Lisa Marie come there because of the emissions. Oh. It was the older jet engines. I mean, I used to work at the airport and I could tell when they were coming because you'd see a black cloud. Yes. And then there would be the Lisa Marie.
I've seen it in videos.
Exactly. You can see it. But they didn't want that over in Europe. So he had Lamar looking at, it's called a BAC, B-A-C 111. It's a 3-engine plane that Elvis was going to get and have it converted to where they could fly it to Europe. So what he said was, after this tour, there's going to be some major changes. He was going to fire some people that worked for him. And then there was Colonel Parker was going to be gone. And he even said, don't say anything to anybody. And from what I understand, he had that conversation with Larry Geller too, because Larry said the same thing. Yeah, there was going to be some major changes after that concert. After that tour, there was going to be some people gone, let go. And he even asked me to come back to work. And I said, but you got Rick and David, they kind of like this thing. And I don't really like the traveling. He said, what if I said, I need you? And I said, if you need me, I'll be there. You know that. He said, okay, that's all I wanted to hear. I said, okay, Elvis.
So loyalty.
That was a big factor in Elvis's life. I mean, and Elvis was loyal. I mean, because everybody wants to know that relationship between him and Colonel Parker. He did help Elvis at the beginning. But I mean, what I always say, the thing that really aggravates me, and I've seen it online, was people say, well, Colonel Parker even said, I made Elvis. Well, why didn't he make another one after Elvis passed away?
That's a good point.
He didn't. No, Elvis made Colonel Parker.
Yeah.
I mean, Elvis's monkey
point.
Could have handled Elvis in the beginning because it was just a short amount of time before the world caught on to what he was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, so Colonel Parker didn't do it. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like Elvis's career, because I talked to him about that before. You know, I said, man, you know, you're the king and this. And no, there's only one true king. But I said, but what you did, he said, Billy, he said, here's what happened. He said, I wanted to do a record for my mom. And I went in, and the ladies thought I had a pretty good voice. And she asked me to come back and see if, do another demo for some stuff, maybe become a singer. And he said, of course I was going to do it. That's what I wanted to be. So he went back and they started recording. He had some band members with him, Bill and Scotty. And so he started singing the song. And I mean, Phillips just got so frustrated. He said, shut it down and walked away. He had to take a break, couldn't stand it. So they was taking a break. He said, well, Scotty, Bill, you guys know this song? Yeah. He said, well, let's do it like this. And so that's what they were playing when he come back in. And he said, whoa, what are you doing? We're just goofing off. Well, keep doing that.
Yeah.
See, Elvis had all this music in his head. Even in the movie Epic, he couldn't tell the musicians what to play, but in there you saw him explain, okay, at this part I want you to go da 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 da. And that's how he did it. It was all in his head.
It was amazing to me how he could command an audience and at the same time command the people on the stage.
Well, they had to learn that.
They had to learn. I mean, how do you keep up with him when he can change on a dime? Ronnie Tutt, wow.
Well, there was because I was there in '69 when they were actually doing this, and there was a couple scenes where, especially Suspicious Minds, I can't even say it, Suspicious Minds, at the end where Ronnie's really doing a lot of drum rolls and stuff toward the end. Yeah. Elvis actually had to put his hand up to slow him down a little bit. Whoa, Ronnie, slow down a little bit. You're going crazy back there. And so he did that a couple of times, but I wish they had left that in there. But yeah. Ronnie had to keep his eye on Elvis because he might do a kick or a punch, and he'd have to hit the cymbal, and stuff. But they all started doing that, and it was funny when he would be singing. He'd walk past the Sweet Inspirations, and he'd jump out. Yeah. He was just trying to keep them on their toes. And at the beginning, they was talking about, we know 400 songs, but see, he didn't even know what song he was going to play. Well, here's a set list.
Right.
He didn't go by that set list. I feel like doing this song. Let's do this right here. Because one time we were on the road, and I didn't know this. I just started working for him in '72 when we was on tour. And I was riding in the limo, and I got to talking about Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page and all these other guitar players. And nobody was really saying anything. My brothers were they didn't even really say anything. They were just kind of nodding their heads. Okay. So during the show, Elvis stops and goes, "Hell, hell, rock and roll." And he walks over and grabs one of John Wilkinson's guitars. I've never seen this before. He walks over and he starts playing it. He walks over in front. I'm standing on the left-hand side of the stage. He walks over to me. He says, "Is that good enough for your little blank?" And then he turns around, walks away out. And in the limo afterwards, I went, "Wow, Elvis, I didn't know that." And after we got back, Joe Esposito said, "Billy, we don't bring up stuff like that before a show or anything like that because it distracts Elvis." I went, "Okay, I won't do it again." He said, "But I'm glad you did it." He said, "That turned out good." And I went, "Yeah, it did." So, but yeah, so the set list was there, but it wasn't etched in stone. So.
Yeah, I was so impressed with Ronnie Tutt, keeping up with him. And there's a famous story about one time Ronnie tried to be something funny, and instead of doing a hard punch, he did a little tinkle, I guess Elvis didn't like that too much.
It was a little triangle. He did a punch and went ding.
But Elvis is up there, commanding, and then does this hard punch, and all you hear is a little ting.
Yeah. There was another scene in the movie that I laugh at, but most people don't. When he was doing "I'm the King of the Jungle," they do the strobe part. Well, if you look real close, there's one part where they missed the timing. And see, this was before strobe lights were even made. They were doing it with a little thing.
Wow.
And so the guy missed it. His timing was off just a hair, and you could see the look in his eye because he looked straight up at that guy, and it just, I went, ooh.
That's in the movie?
Oh, yeah.
All right, you guys, we got to look for that next time.
Yeah, when they're doing Tiger Man, look for it. He'll give a look, and you'll go, ooh, that guy, he only misses it by just a half a beat, but he missed it.
There's another part of that movie where he talks about, I guess the Sweet Inspirations didn't know when to quit or something. And I was like, if he hadn't said it was a mistake, I would never have known it was a mistake. There was some song that they had practiced that they didn't quite have down, and he apologized to the audience, but I wouldn't have. Sounded okay to me.
Yeah.
If Elvis could see you today, what do you think he would be most proud of?
The way I'm living my life now. I've put away all the anger, and, all that baggage that came along with the drug addiction and stuff that I which was all self-induced. I got rid of all that, and I'm trying to live more like Elvis and be positive, be a positive influence instead of talking all this negative stuff, where I think that's the way the world has turned today is, okay, we've learned how to, there was a line from a song, learn how to love and forget how to hate. It seems like today it's more, let's learn how to hate and forget how to love. And that's what's wrong with the world today. And I mean, a lot of channels on YouTube are doing that.
Yeah.
They find a topic. Oh, this is the hot topic right now. Let's jump on it and ride it.
Yeah.
And that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't talk about anything good in his life. They just want to pick out somebody in the group and talk bad about them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, if Elvis was here today, you know what he would do? He'd probably slap the taste out of your mouth for saying something like that.
Well, I think that he probably would be proud of you for the way you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps, got your life back on track, and are trying to spread the positive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Elvis was a positive influence on anybody's life. I mean, if you just listen to his music and listen to the message, I mean, how many rock concerts did you ever go to? And then all of a sudden in the middle of it, there's 2 gospel songs.
I know, in Vegas.
Yeah, there. I mean, it was just, that's where his true heart was.
Yeah.
Elvis was a gospel singer that made it in rock and roll.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to say that.
Thank you.
Okay, well, hope is the section we're closing. It's not pretending the hard chapters didn't happen. It's choosing what we build from them.
Well, I mean, why dwell on the negative? I mean, here again, if that's where people want to live and dwell, then guess what? Your life's going to be as miserable.
Right.
So look at the good and look at the positive. Focus on that. I mean, everybody has negative parts in their life. Did they want to talk about it?
Right.
No.
Right. Okay, I hope you'll stay tuned for part 3, where we have viewers' questions coming up. Thank you. Get ready.